Welcome to the webinar on Securing Post-COVID Road Freight across APAC and EMEA, Risk Assessment and Data Intelligence, jointly organized by TAPA and G4S. Let me introduce our speakers that we have today with us. Mr. Pana Lamos, Senior Director for Secure Operations, G4S Telematix. Mr. Thorsten Luhmann, President and CEO of TAPA EMEA. Mr. Tony Luck, Chairman of TAPA Asia Pacific, and we have Mr. Kevin Leung, Board Member and IIS Working Committee of TAPA Asia Pacific, and he is our host for today. Hi Kevin, I shall hand it over to you right now.
Yeah, thank you, Samantha. Hey, hello all. This is Kevin. So from TAPA and IIS committee. So this is our second IIS meetings for all the members for Asia Pacific. So today I'm very happy we have Thorsten here, so from EMEA, to help us to introduce more for IIS. And we have Tony and Pana, so welcome both of them to the meetings. So today I think I will start with I think we will start to review the last time poll result for IIS. So during last IIS, we had a poll to all the members. So we are questioning you how you do the IIS, whether you know how to access the IIS system, and how often you review the IIS data, and how you feel about IIS. So we get a part of the data. So here is the result for last IIS result. So you can see you can see that 40% of us, we have over once every quarter. So we use the IIS to review the routes, the risks of cargo route, and less than 10% in every half year, and 30% is once every year, and 20% not every year. So this is a result. We can see that all the members, we are really care about our cargo route risks on for our products. So and then we also have some feedback from our members that we are not knowing how to access the IIS. So here I will give you some introductions how to access the IIS database. So you can see from this presentation, you can see how you access the IIS. So the IIS, the database is you can access the TAPA Global Organization, the website, and the intelligence, and then you can see the incident database. So for all of us, we are encouraging you to register your data for your companies, and then this will help you to help all of us to get all the data. So I think this is all the this is a review for last meeting, and then I will pass it to the panel. So from G4S, so let's welcome to panel. Hey, hello panel.
Good morning, good afternoon, good afternoon. It's morning here, but good afternoon to you. So thank you for the invitation. I'm really honored to be here with you. And what I have prepared for today is to give you an idea how we can exploit and get benefits from the TAPA IIS set of incidents. So I will not go through the introductory of what G4S Telematix is. G4S, it is included in the presentation. If some of you want to take a look, it's okay. I will go directly to the supply chain environment. And to be honest, what I would like to share with you is that we mostly operate preventively. So we are a security company that we would prefer to avoid security incidents. So most of our job is working preventively. Of course, we can offer response services, but preventing risks is something that we like most. And in order to do this, we have 3 levels and 3 pillars. We have the risk analysis, the systems and solution, and then also the services that we offer. Let's go now to the actual, let's say, content of today's presentation. So, as I told you, we want to work preventively. And preventively means that we want to avoid situations with high risk, because if the risk is high, the probability of having a security incident becomes higher as well. So we are trying to avoid getting in this difficult situation. In order to do this, we have developed an in-house transportation risk assessment model. I'm sure most of you have your own model, but in case some of you do not have any, we have shared a white paper with Samantha, and Samantha has uploaded this white paper, so you can download to see how a methodology looks like. The methodology that we have presented, that we have prepared, is based on two internationally recognized risk assessment approaches: the PHA, the preliminary hazard analysis, and the FMECA. You don't need to be an expert in risk analysis in order to understand how these methodologies work. I will try to make it clear and simple for you. But what it is important for a risk assessment model is that it has to have three very, very basic characteristics. The first one is it has to be valid, meaning that it has to be based on actual, real, and verified information. Okay? And this is where TAPA IIS gets in, because all the incidents included in the database, they are actual, they are real, and they have been verified. A second characteristic is that this model has to be consistent. So it means that whoever does this, whoever applies this methodology, it has to come to the same outcome. So if I use the same data and the same methodology, it is impossible to come to a different outcome. And the third one is it has to be objective. It doesn't have to be influenced by personal feeling or opinions. So these are the three major and very important characteristics that our transportation risk assessment model has, and I'm sure that yours have as well. Now, when I do this risk assessment, what factors do I consider? The first one, in principle, I use 4 factors: criticality, frequency, threat, and vulnerability. So criticality means what will be my damage if an incident happens. And this damage is either direct, I mean, I lose the value of the product that it is stolen, but it can also be indirect, because there are rumors, there are delays, and all that stuff. So somehow I need to be able to calculate this figure. The second one is the frequency. How often does an incident take place? And you know what? We are not magicians. We cannot predict the future, but we can base our prediction in historical data. And again, TAPA IIS comes in to solve this very important problem. The third one is the threat. Threat is an external factor independent from me. It's the criminality rate, it's the decision of the criminals, it's things that I cannot control. Whereas vulnerability is an internal factor that I can totally control. I can equip my vehicle with very high security protection measure. I can train my drivers how to respond and how to recognize evolving threats. I can do a lot of things in order to reduce my vulnerability, thus decreasing the risk. Now, let's go where the IIS steps in. As I told you, since we are unable to predict the future, we decided to use historical data and trends to feed our model. We decided to use TAPA IIS as the prime source of feeding, And we combined it also with Spot, Secure Parking Online tool, that offers the capability to have an indicative route planning, not only with incidents along the path, but also with secure and certified parking along this path. I'm sure that since TAPA PSR is only a MEA standard, probably this is not applicable to APAC, but it's a very, very helpful feature to add also the secure and certified parking along and across the path that you want to take. So these are the basic, let's say, points that I would like to share with you before I go to a practical example. Are there any questions that you would like to discuss at this time, or you want to leave it for the end?
Yes, currently we don't have any questions from the floor.
Yes. So in order for me to present you how this model works, I have selected a route that I want to assess related to security risks, and I have decided to assess a route between Kolkata and Mumbai in India. So if you go to Google Maps and you ask, I want to go from Kolkata to Mumbai, usually the Google Maps will come with 3 alternative itineraries. And most of the times, I'm afraid that we select the shortest or the cheapest. But let's take a look at these 3 different routes. So route number 1 is 2,117 kilometers, and it has also additional expenses with the tolls. This means that probably we will pay a little more fuel, and we have also to pay additional tolls, and maybe we have to pay also 3 or 4 hours additional to the driver. So compared to route number 2 and route number 3 that have, let's say, about 120 kilometers less, maybe this is cheaper. But let's take a look on the security risk assessment of these 3 routes. So this is the first route, number 1, number 2, and number 3. So now I go to TAPA IIS, and I have selected to show me the system, to show me the incidents that have taken place during a period in the past. You can select 2, 5, 10 years. And I have selected to see how many incidents have taken place across this path in a distance of 25 kilometers both sides. The system has 3 selections: 10 kilometers, 25 kilometers, and 50 kilometers. So I can see that if I select this route, I have a certain number of incidents that I have all details because they are registered in the TAPA IIS. And if I go with route number 2, I do the same. And if I go with route number 3, I see the same. We do the same. But in route number 3, I noticed a very important situation. I noticed an area that we had over 15 incidents during this period. So this is a hotspot. And from my first approach would be, let's try to avoid crossing this area. But this is a quantitative approach. Now I will go to a qualitative approach. Now I can go to a quantitative approach. What I can do now is that I start to fill this table, and you can see in the first route, I have counted 10 incidents, 25 kilometers across the route. On route number 2, 11, and on route number 3, 25. Then I have selected how many of these incidents are related to transportation, because some of these incidents are also related to facility, which has a validity, because if I have criminals that attack a facility, and facilities are very well, let's say, organized and protected, I'm sure that these criminals will try to find another way to secure their income. But anyway, I have taken that 80% out of these 10 incidents are related to transportation. In route number 2, it's 7 out of 11, and in route number 3, it's 21 out of 25. And then I have calculated the likelihood index based on the formula that is shown in this slide and is included in the analytical white paper that Samantha has shared with you. And what I have decided is that there are two major parameters that I want to take into account for my security risk assessment. The first and most important is that I don't want fatalities. So I will try to find the route that has the less incident related to violent attacks. And the second, of course, is I want to have to prevent losses. So my second parameter will be the actual value of loss. And as you can see here, I have in route number 1, $117,000 average loss per incident. In route number 2, 105, and in route number 3, 225. And if you go to the modus operandi, you will see that related to violence, for in route number 1, I have only 2 incidents that were violent. In route number 2, I had 3 incidents violent, and in route number 3, I had 8. So you see here that my concern is not only the distance and the direct cost of my transport, but I also take into account incidents and losses related to the parameters that I have selected. There are numerous parameters in, let's say, TAPA IIS, where you can sort out and filter your data. You can see how many of these incidents were related to tobacco, to electronic, to product category, whether they were in secure parking or en route. So you can see a lot of information, and you can use the parameters that you want for your risk assessment. And after I have done this analysis, I say, okay, so I create my risk matrix and my risk index. So if I do my risk assessment, it would be perfect if everything was green. I like very much if everything is yellow, which is acceptable with extra control. I can live with the orange, the amber, not desirable, and definitely I want to avoid the red ones, the not acceptable. And if I apply this methodology to my data that I have shown you a little earlier, I would say that if I have a loss over 100,000 K, I could consider this as a catastrophic. Between 10 and 100, it would be critical. Between 1 and 10, it would be marginal, and below 1K is negligible. Whereas related to violent, I would like to have negligible if I have no violent attacks. Between 1 and 2, I can say it's marginal. Between 2 and 5, it's critical, and over 5 is catastrophic. These are figures that I have to select based on the analysis of my risk strategy and my risk appetite. So if I want to go with zero risk, or let's say low level of risk, I need to make everything green or yellow, which will probably drive me to a very, very big investment without actually getting back any return on this investment. So usually the risk strategy is I don't operate in red category. I can live with the amber, and I prefer to work with the yellow. So if I put the figures that I have found out based on my analysis, you will see that the route for route 1, the risk index loss was 8 based on the calculation. As you can see here, you can find out this situation because it was in the area of, sorry, let me explain this to you. What does 8 mean? It was in the area of $117 kilo. You see this, the average loss, 117. And if I go here, I would say that over 1,000 with a likelihood index between 0.025 and 0.075 is remote, so it ends up to 8. You don't have to do all this calculation. The methodology will create this for you. So you end up with this assessment. Route 3, you see that is in the red area. So route 3 should definitely be avoided as it shows unacceptable level of security risk, both in losses as well as in number of violent attacks. If you go here, you will see that I had 8 violent attacks and 227,000 average loss. So remember, route number 3 is one of the shortest. If it was for the fleet manager, usually he would select it. This or route number 2, because the fuel will be less, the driver's time will be less. It doesn't have toll, so it would be a good operational solution, but it turned out after the security risk assessment that it is the worst route that you can select security-wise. Now, if you go to route number 2 and you apply the same methodology, we go from unacceptable to undesirable. So it's amber. Okay, I can live with it. But then if I go to route number 1, which is longer, you can see that it scored the same as route number 2 as far as losses is concerned. But you can see here that the first one was 117 average loss, and route number 2 has 105. So actually, the losses level were the same, but you can see now that we have a major difference in the violent attacks, and we enter into the yellow area, which is probably a good, let's say, reason to select this route security-wise.
Yeah, Pana?
Yes, please.
Yes, we have a question from Lina on the ground. Are the value of losses and modus operandi information available from the TAPA IIS as well?
Of course they are, along with thousands other information that Thorsten will share with you, I hope, a little later.
Sure, thank you so much, Pana.
Okay. So I tried now to present you some conclusions and some recommendation after I presented the methodology. The scope of my presentation was not to make you expert on the methodology, was just to show you that there are some methodology that can produce some results. If you like, you can learn this methodology or another one, or you can develop your own. But you need to have a methodology because, first of all, security route risk assessment should always be part of our route planning activity. And as far as I saw, 20% of us do not review the risks of the cargo based on the presentation of the figures that we saw earlier this morning, and 30% do it once a year. But you know what? Security situation is very dynamic. So I think that even a year, it's too long. So Security route risk assessment should always be part of our route planning activity, even though if we have to confirm that what outcome we had 6 months ago is still valid. The second point that I would like to stretch out to raise is that we need to have a common methodology model to ensure that security risk assessment is valid, is consistent, and is objective. Otherwise, if you apply the same different methodology with the same data, you will end up to a different outcome. So which one will be the same? And you know what? The purpose of risk assessment is not to minimize the risk. The purpose is, first of all, to identify the risk, and then by applying mitigation, I'm sorry, it was not to eliminate the risk. Of course, it is to minimize. So the purpose of a risk assessment is to identify the risks, to apply the proper mitigation measures, and then select the outcome that has the smaller level, the lower level of risk. You cannot eliminate risk. So as long as you have a consistent, objective, and valid methodology, you can you can classify your risks in a descending order. The third one is that we need to select sources to fit the model and decide which parameters should be dominant for our evaluation. So for this case, I have selected the value of losses and the modus operandi, trying to avoid violent circumstances because health of my people, of my drivers, is very important for us. But you can select whatever parameter you want from those that are included in the TAPA IIS. And finally, execute the more secure route if there is no operational disruptions, because security needs to support operations. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. I hope I was able to present you that there is a way for you to do a consistent job. If you want to be, let's say, familiar with this way or with another way, you just have to put some time to understand the technicalities, and you can proceed further with this. So I would like to thank you for your attention. More than happy to answer any question now or later. I hand over to you now.
So Penno, this is Tony Lugger. Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes.
So just a couple of questions from me. And I know Torsten will be able to answer this, but look, in terms of your analysis, have you ever done exercises where you looked at the days of the week and also the time? So basically, as you're planning the route, you're looking at what day it's going to arrive and obviously what time it's going to arrive.
This specific information is not included as a separate field in the TAPA IIS, so you can filter. But if you go into the description of the incident themselves, there are information about whether the incident happened during night, during weekend, during time. So yes, there are information, not separately classified, but you can extract this information for the analysis, and you can, let's say, create a trend for the time and the weekday that these incidents take place.
Excellent. So look, some of the things that I had done previously, and I just wanted to really get your view on it, was actually, to look at the days of the week when the sort of attacks happened. And also, if I was sending a full load into a distributor, for instance, I would also look at the lead time or the transit time to actually arrive at that distribution center, and also ensure that I had a booking slot for the truck, so it wasn't waiting around outside. So is that something that you would recommend to the members to be doing?
Okay. Route risk assessment is a part of the route planning. So what I presented today is only a small part of the route planning. Of course, all the parameters of route planning, including the lead time, the estimated arrival time, the overnight breaks, the weekend breaks. All these things have to be included in the route planning. I just presented today a small component of the route planning, because after you select which itinerary you will follow, then you have to do the detailed route planning, what time I will load, what time I will leave, what time I have to stop for my first 45 minutes break. Then probably I have a 9 hours break, then I have a weekend break, so I can search for secure parking across the itinerary. So I can do a very detailed and analytical route planning, and I instruct my driver to follow this. And I also instruct my monitoring center that this is the, let's say, the route that I have planned. And if you identify any deviation from this route, please raise an alarm and let me know how we shall handle this.
That's excellent. So what you're describing there is a fully integrated model, which is brilliant, which really takes me over to Torsten. So Torsten, look, you've heard what Panna was saying in terms of the parking security requirements and the parking. So look, are you able to now give the viewers and listeners an overview of the IIS platform? How you basically have logged all of the data into the system, and also how the safe, secure parking locations can actually help members.
Sure, absolutely. I hope you can see me. As already said by Panna, and first of all, thanks to the entire team, and of course also Panna, related to sharing the information here and organizing the webinar. So I would like now to run with you through the system. So it's really important, as already said also by Kevin, to understand why it's there. And I think it's also quite important, listening to Panna, that they are really using all the data and all the information and the intelligence which is coming from our tools within your organization as TAPA, the Transported Asset Protection Association. That's quite important. So all these numbers and all this information is available as soon as you are a member. So Kevin already showed to you, so this is the intelligence website, and you go to the website, and as you can see, I'm logged in. So which means I have all access. I can see everything, so I can take a look at the system, and I will show you the system. I can take a look at the data. I can look at the breakdown and everything. I think what is quite important is really, this is not a competitive tool. This is a transparency tool. It's sharing intelligence. So it's not important for us, that what kind of company it is, what kind of company name it is, what kind of product it is. It's important for us to really identify theft hotspot and plan route risk analysis or your own risk mitigation system for your company and an end-to-end supply chain solution. So I think what is also quite important, how easy it is and how simple it is. And right now, the team in both regions are working even to make it more simple. So we are right now in the process to design a new website experience to make it simple, to keep it simple, to make it easier for you to report an incident. So if you see it, send it. And you can send it to us on all really platforms. You can use the incident information system. You can go there, you can report an incident, you can say it's an EMEA incident, it's an APAC incident, it's an Americas incident. So if you know it, you can report in all regions. So you can say it's in India, so go to APAC. You can say it's in Italy, so go to EMEA. And what we did, and that's also quite important, it's a very easy system, as you can see, but you can also send us an email. You can also send us an Excel spreadsheet. So if you already have, for example, a kind of a monthly overview, send it to us. And it's a neutral form, it's completely within the TAPA hand. It's on a separate machine. And again, there's no company storage or no company information inside the tool. But now, and I think that's also quite important. So if you go to the IIS one, if you would like to see how easy it is, there's a video. And I would like to encourage all of you to take a look at the video. It's very easy. It's very simple. But now let's go to the tool. Let's go to the system. Okay. So this is how it looks like. So if you go to the tool, and by the way, this is the tool for everything. This is the tool for the IIS. This is the tool for Spot, which already been mentioned by Panna, the secure parking online tool, where you can take a look at parking. So I'm an electrical engineer. I love statistics, I love pictures, I love all the other stuff. So you can look at it in this list format, you can take a look at the incidents, you can filter it, you can say, for example, I'm only interested in to see hijacking, you can say I'm only interested in to see all incidents in APAC, in EMEA, or in Americas, you can pick a specific country, so you can go for a location type, for a category, you can go for a region, you can download everything as a CSV file. So it's a lot of opportunities. And as I already mentioned, more to come. So we are feeding this kind of system now with the information provided by a technology really TAPA APAC picked. You know, it's an amazing web crawler technology. And now, you know, as you can see, these are the entries. You know, we listed, controlled, checked, approved entries over the last 18 months. So since the 1st of January 2019 until now, we listed more than 11,000 incidents in our database. Our database, the TAPA IIS database, is recognized by Europol as the best database in the world when we talk about cargo crime. And we all, as the members, should be proud of it. So because you are the key success to the system and the tool to implement data and make the tool even better, and also the user experience and the data accuracy. So that's really important to understand that. The data accuracy is the key to success, and that we are not only focused on the tip of the iceberg, that we are really going to the direction where we can say that we provide best-in-class services and solutions to all our members. Now you can also take a look at parking spots, for example, and you say, okay, I would like to see the parking spots. Where is a parking spot? But I must say, I prefer the mapping solution, okay? I'm a very visual driven person, and that's the reason why I love the map solution. I really love the map solution, you know, and this is the world how we know it. Okay, so this is really the map, how we can see it, you know, as you know, TAPA Americas, TAPA EMEA, TAPA APAC. So let's switch on only the incidents for the last 18 months, and let's see how the world looks as soon as we see the incidents we record for you as your members, you know, and you will see it's a dramatic difference. So I cannot see Europe anymore, to be honest. You know, for me, Europe disappeared. Crime data. For me, Latin America, Americas disappeared also, and partly also Asia Pac, as you can see. So we receive data, but as soon as I really zoom in, you will see that the data really is very good in some areas, as you can see here, and I will be more specific later. You know, but if you go to other areas, I strongly believe that we have more losses, for example, in China. And I also strongly believe that we have more losses in other areas in Asia, you know, as you can see here. So this is really what I mean related to transparency. So if I'm going into India, it's very impressive already to see how many reports we received over the last 18 months. But if you take a look at the country of India and then compare that, for example, you know, with South Africa, look at the information we have from South Africa, you know, but now, and I think that's, of course, you know, it's also because of data input and working together with law enforcement agencies all over the world. You can see if you go now, for example, to Germany, Benelux, or UK, all these dots, again, are only the incidents for the last 18 months, okay? So let's switch over off one more time. This is how it looks like without the incidents. This is how it looks like with incidents, okay? As already said by Pana, and that's the most important thing. Now you can say, for example, okay, I have a planning, I have a route, you know, and my normal route, and I'm not putting now in specific addresses, so, but my normal route is going from Amsterdam always to Hamburg, okay, because it's two big cities, and both of them, you know, if I can also say Rotterdam, for example, you know, do have major ports, you know, that's really quite important. So I'm looking for the route. The route is already there, so I can now take a look at the route. Okay, and I can see, okay, this is the best route, as already said by Pana, but I can also use other routes. I can say, for example, okay, I do not want to go this highway, I would like to go another highway. And the reason for that could be because I have a parking place there. So you can switch on your parking places. And this is one of the key things, you know, all these parking places are TAPA, you know, accredited, I'm not saying approved, accredited and very well known parking places. Some of them are also certified against our PSR standard, the parking security requirements. And as you can see, you know, all of them are really with a lot of information. We know that we have 70 parking places. We know it's a certification level partner. We know the contact details. We have phone numbers from these parking places. So we know a lot of stuff related to this parking places no one else knows. And I think that's really quite important. We have the website, we have the contact details, we know the people which are in charge of the parking place. And now you can say, for example, okay, now I know the parking places, so do me a favor, show me all the incidents around this route. So it's a lot of incidents. Okay, so let's say, for me, it's only interesting right now how many hijackings I had, how many theft from trailer, how many theft from vehicle, theft off trailer, and theft off vehicle, and truck theft. So let's go and let's apply these filters. Okay, again, it's 11,000 incidents, so it will take a while, but you can see it already, a lot of incidents already disappeared now, but we still have hundreds of incidents. Okay, and if you want to know the exact number, then you go back to the list, you go to the incidents, and you can see we still have a lot of incidents related to this category. So from a system point of view, and again, the system development, there is no finish line. Okay, it's a continuous improvement process. So from a system point of view, it's a kind of an unlimited, really, opportunities, how you can filter the data. But I think the most important thing is really right now here. Okay, I'm not ignoring the filters, but if you scroll out again, you can see that we have a lot of incidents here. But we really need to work on sharing data and sharing information all over the world. We had the same struggle, don't get me wrong. The IIS system is already in place since the beginning of 2000. And we started with 100 incidents for the entire year. And now we capture approximately 10,000 incidents for Europe, Middle East, and Africa alone. And if you take a look at the entire world, we could capture thousands of data sets, every year to make life easier for us as a supply chain security professional, for our daily work. Because I think there's one point which is super important also here. If you're representing a company, if you're in charge of your supply chain risk model, it's not you who's targeted, it's the entire industry who's targeted. So share data. Base your work on the industry data, because I think that's really one of the most important things. And as we really would like to be on time, okay, it's a very, very short intro on the IIS tool. So just to let you know, it's really short. I can talk about the IIS tool for hours, for days, and Tony knows me on this one. I love the tool. I use the tool in all my companies I work for. I really based nearly all my assessments on the tool, as already said by Pana. As you can see, a lot of companies are doing it, and if you look at the data, as already said, if you look at really the accuracy of the data, especially in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, but as you can see also in Latin America and other areas, it's an amazing opportunity to make your life easy, okay? And it's an amazing opportunity to really ensure, and that's also quite important, to your senior management, why you are not really a cost for the company, because you create return of investment. So show your company your return of investment. Show your company that you are a profit center with data, with real life data, because everything what you can see right now here is proven, recorded data all over the world. And my last comment before I will hand over back to Tony, Samantha, and the TAPA APAC team is really that our partner relationship with law enforcement agencies all over Europe is one of the best and amazing things what you can do. So 2 examples. If you look at the Dutch official police report on cargo crime for the entire country of the Netherlands, we as TAPA, as an industry association, we create their official police report. So we get all the data, we create the report, but it's still an official police report. Okay, we neutralize all the data. That's quite important. And by the way, we do the same for other countries, and we are the pipeline to do that for 2 main countries. And you will see, even if 2019 was a record year in reference to data into the IIS system, 2020 will be even higher. So we are expecting more data coming in 2020 than in 2019. So thanks for your time. Handing back to Tony and the APAC team. Okay, thank you.
So thank you, Torsten. Great overview of the tool. So Torsten, can I just ask you a quick couple of questions? And if you could just give us a short answer so I can fire you guys half a dozen questions. So look, one of the questions that comes up in Asia is the data privacy. Now, as you quite rightly mentioned, the IIS has been going since the year 2000. So, you know, what can you tell the members in Asia in terms of confidentiality and privacy?
I think it's quite important. So first of all, we are 100% aligned and in compliance with GDPR rules. So everything is linked to GDPR. Secondly, all the data is neutralized, and we have always a 4i principle. We also have two-way authentication. All data is stored, you know, really on our machines, and we can, and it's not a problem, we can also say that, you know, the regional data will be stored within your region. So that's all possible. So from a data infrastructure point of view, it's all possible. I think it's also quite important, as already mentioned, you know, we will not have any company information on the database. Plus, if you as a company tell us, I do not want to see the specifics in the database, we have two different databases. We have one database everybody can see, that's the members database, but we also have a TAPA database, which is not visible for the members, where we capture, for example, main data. So we have companies giving us the entire data, and we only share the entire volume, the entire value, and the amount, and that's it. But we do not share specific incidents. So it's a very, very robust system. And as you said also, Tony, you know, we learned over the last nearly 16 years now how we need to protect you as the member, your intelligence, and also your privacy.
Excellent. Question for Panna. Panna, can you, especially the members in Asia, right? As you mentioned at the beginning, you know, we have some gaps, right, in data reporting. So what is your advice to TAPA Asia members in terms of reporting the data?
It would be a very, very good opportunity and approach, because as you saw, the reason that I used India as an example is that only India and Indonesia had a valid rate of reported incidents. If I try to assess a route between, let's say, China and Russia, I would not be able to do it, to use the tool, because there is no data to feed. So I would strongly recommend, as Thorsten said, there is a very big confidentiality umbrella, and information shared, and only the information that are valid and have value for the entire market, and not addressing one company or the other. So I strongly recommend, and I'm trying to do this also in the Central and South Europe, when you can see that the reporting rate is not as good as in the Western Europe. I'm trying to push all my network to report incidents in order for all the market and the network to be able to take advantage of it.
That's excellent. Thank you, Panna. Let's go over to Samantha. Samantha's got a couple of questions. Go ahead, Samantha.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, we would like to ask the audience some poll questions. So just key in your answer in the poll questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Thorsten, Kevin here. So during this time, I have a question for you. So for this data, I mean, for TAPA, you have over decades data. So do you have a system, or a formula that you can automatically to find a safety routes from destination and to original to destination? So once I key in the original or the destination, then automatically I can, via this system, can find a safety routes.
Okay, that's not part of the system right now because we have too many influences. You know, it depends on what you are focused on. You know, because I think it's quite important. You know, also our different types of incidents are linked to the same definition as defined by Europol, Interpol, and the European Commission. So, and of course, you know, as also said by Panna, you know, in some cases, even if you have incidents on this route, it can be a good route for you, because these specific incidents are not linked to your operation. You know, if I'm driving, for example, a TSR1 truck, it's a different risk than I'm driving a TSR3 truck, or even non-compliant or non-certified trucks. So potentially, of course, with modern technology and with new technology like machine learning and artificial intelligence, this could be the next phase. But right now, no, it's not there. So
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tom.
So we have 76% of the audience considering security risks when planning their road transport route, but we also have the remaining quarter that did not consider any security risk.
So I'm not sure if we got it up. I mean, perhaps the audience can put it into the chat, but does the audience feel that having seen the presentation by Panna and Torsten, do they actually feel that, especially if they're shipping from Asia into Europe, do they see the benefits of that tool? I don't know if you can just take some of the comments from the chat. It'd be nice if people could respond to that. And look, Torsten, you mentioned about visualization of the data. How can the members add that extra value, as you said earlier? How can they take that data into the boardroom or try and get it up to that executive level where they can show the value of membership of TAPA and using these tools?
I think there's one point, which is always for me quite important, is, as you know, if you go to the executive level, if you go to the CEO or the CFO room, they're all focused on the big numbers. And if I can show already to them, that we record more than 11,000 incidents and the loss value and everything, so this is the key turnaround for you. And as we are presenting our numbers quite often, for example, also to Europol, Interpol, the European Commission, the NATO, or to several ministries, I can give you a good example. We started an initiative in Germany. The German government said that cargo crime is not a challenge in Germany because they received a number which was 300 million as an impact in Germany. So we gave them our numbers and we gave them a calculation which was based on our numbers and the numbers even from the German ministry, which is in charge of really transport. And the funny part was we were in a position to prove to them that the real impact on cargo crime with our numbers and everything is 2.1 billion in Germany alone. And of course, this was an eye-opener. And now, from a German ministry point of view, cargo crime is in the top 5 for them for the next 3 years. So it's really, everything is based on numbers. And if you take a look at it, if you take a look at the IIS reports, I must say, look at the TAPA IIS annual reports, look at the half-year report. It's an amazing tool which can give you a lot of evidence related to how serious really cargo crime is all over the world.
Excellent. So Panna, custom security programs, require shippers, etc., to conduct risk assessments. So what advice would you be saying to those members that say, well, I don't need TAPA, I just need AEO or CTPAT validation? What would you be saying to them?
Depending on the area of operation, probably a more suitable standard would be CTPAT or something different. But what I have realized is that there is no global program except for TAPA. So you can use, let's say, CTPAT in United States, but when you come to Europe or in Asia, you should do some, let's say, work in order to ensure that it's going to be a mutual recognition and all that stuff. But I think that TAPA is the only global program from one side, and on the other side is, my advice is you need to do a route risk assessment independently on whether you follow a program or not, because at the end of the day, it's your goods that you are transporting and it's your goods that are going to be stolen. So you have,
I suppose the key, and I was going to say the key point then is that if they haven't got the data, how are they actually conducting the risk assessments?
Yeah, listen, a lot of people follows the old traditional methodology of risk assessment, which was something between feeling, sensing, and quality. So some people say that one route has a high risk, another has a medium, another has a low. But if I ask, okay, if you have two routes with high risk, which one is higher? Then the qualitative model fails, and we need the quantitative. That's why we move to numbers and figures, because at the end of the day, we can put the risks in an order. So data is the only, valid data is the only tool that we have for this approach.
Okay, great. So Samantha, look, we're coming up to the hour. So any feedback in the chat from that sort of quick question that we put out there?
Yes, we have a couple of feedback that the tool is amazing from Edward as well, and that they're excited to use it. Furthermore, we have one more question from ER. That is, data collection is on a country level. It's very important. So what TAPA would advise in terms of how to mobilize the local industry awareness in order to increase the data reporting in situation when the local companies are not TAPA members?
So Torsten, can you answer that question, please?
I'm sorry, but the line wasn't the best. Samantha, can you repeat very quickly? I'm sorry.
No worries. It's how would TAPA advise in terms of mobilizing the local industry awareness in order
Yes.
to ensure that companies who are not TAPA members will also start to increase reporting more data to the IIS too.
I think it's quite important, you know, if you take a look at the website, as already said, you know, and as mentioned, TAPA APAC and EMEA are working now on revising the website and ramp up a brand new one, which will make life easier. You have a lot of tools you can use on the website. Look at the video, look at the explainer, look at the brochures, look at the benefits, you know, look at what you get for the money, and look especially also why is sharing information so important. And by the way, everybody can report an incident. You do not need to be a TAPA member. The only thing, what is the benefit, is that you receive the details and the system and everything. But recording an incident, send us an email, whatever you want. So it's very, very easy. But a lot of information is already on the website. So I can encourage you, go to the website, use what we produced for you. And if you need more, let us know. We have tons of brochures, explainer videos and everything. So no, let's go for it.
Brilliant, thank you, Torsten. Let me just pass back to Kevin for a quick sum up and then over to Sam.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for attending this call. So I think this is very successful. We have panel to share a small, very useful tools to analyze the risks for root. And then we have Torsten to share with us the IIS system. This is a very big cloud data. So these data will help us to analyze, to get all the information from worldwide. So I hope all the members can very well use this TAPA IIS database to show to your management that we can provide more data and more value to the companies. We can save more monies for the companies. We can secure our products for the companies. So we have enough ROI for the companies. So thanks all to attend this call. And then in coming soon, we will have another IIS meeting. So welcome to invite your partners or your members or your friends to join our IIS call, and please share your data as well. So let's help each other to grow up and then to make APAC IIS grow up as well. Thank you. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you everyone for joining the webinar on securing post-COVID road freight across APAC and EMEA, risk assessment and data intelligence. We hope that you have enjoyed the webinar and the Q&A session. If you have any questions and feedback, please feel free to contact TAPA or G4S Telematix. We look forward to seeing you in our next webinar. Goodbye.